Are you struggling through sifting through all the misinformation on how many times you should eat, how much protein should you get in, how should you space out your meals? Well, I'm going to cover that today because I think there's a lot of misconceptions on how intricate you really need to get, and I'm going to give you some basic guidelines and the reasonings behind it. I know for the longest time that I always thought just eat when you're hungry. You got to eat big to get big. I know plenty of people who think you have to make your life a little bit more uncomfortable by eating more times than you really necessarily want to or can allot the time for, and that creates an issue. I'm here to tell you generally right off the bat, eating anywhere between 4 to 6 times a day. And when I say eating, I mean well balanced meals with quality protein is probably going to be the most optimal. Let me explain why. Putting all the performance aspects aside, putting all the health benefits of maybe fasting, intermittent fasting, all those things aside, when we're looking at just building muscle, burning fat, and optimizing digestion, as well as those aesthetically benefiting properties, or excuse me, responses, you want to make sure that your body essentially has everything it needs when it needs it. The reason why I say that is this, okay? Imagine that you're building a house, okay? You only have 10 workers to build this house. Do you think that these workers would be more effective if you just had all of them working at one time? Or if you had maybe 3 hour or three workers working for a bit, then another three working, then another three working, maybe with that three is a fourth. That's a little confusing. What I'm pretty much trying to say is it better to have an influx of labor, an influx of all these people inside the house trying to build it when some might have a job, there might not be enough space within the room that they're working, right? So some of it might be wasted versus let's put just the right amount of people that we need that can get enough done. It's the same thing that comes with your nutrition. So that's why I think having a little bit more frequency in your meals, if you're somebody who's only eating 1, 2, 3 times a day, because you're allowing space in between those meals to allow your body to absorb the nutrients that it needs, allocate them where they need to go, and then be ready for the next time that you need to consume food again. When it comes to protein, there isn't some maximum number that your body can really appropriate in the right directions. It really comes down to how much it's going to bog down your digestion. So if you're eating 1 to 2 giant meals, you gotta understand there's just going to take a lot of time for your body to process what it needs. And let's say your body doesn't need all those nutrients at that time. Your body doesn't really do a good job at storing amino acids. It's really looking at everything as energy. So if you start eating all this food, yes, you might be hitting your protein number for the day. But if you have one meal of 200 grams of protein in one day or two meals of 100 and your goal number is 200, it's gonna be a lot harder for your body to digest that. Things are gonna slow down. You're gonna be more lethargic. You're not gonna be more optimal versus breaking that up, okay? In addition, the other reason why you wanna have more meal frequency throughout the day, especially if you're looking to burn body fat, if you're someone who's overweight or obese, you want to keep the body as sensitive to insulin as possible, okay? There's always responses to what you consume. Your body responds in certain ways with certain hormones, certain signals, certain new neurotransmitters, things of that nature that are normal. But what happens is when you have so much of an influx of food at one time or too little, right? You might not be able to efficiently maximize the uptake of that food, the use of that food, and your body just doesn't like throw away whatever it doesn't use. It's going to store a lot of that as body fat. In addition, there's going to be a lot of secondary factors that happen with what you're eating. For instance, if I were to like have one carb meal a day, and I was just going to throw a ton of carbohydrates in that meal, more than likely I'm going to have a very strong and high insulin response, which is going to make me feel lethargic, right? Because body's got to bring the blood sugar down. My performance might dip. I might maximize the amount that I can really store, but I might need more throughout the day. It might affect my brain and liver function, right? So that's why it's always best if you're looking to change your physique. Again, performance, cognition, brain function, all that aside, health, overall health. When we look at building muscle and losing body fat, okay, what is going to be optimal is having more frequent meals throughout the day, more frequent quality meals, especially high in quality protein at all times. Your carbohydrates you can allocate, and I can go into another module or another class about how to allocate your macronutrients. But the gist of what I wanted to cover today is to give you a general idea of what's optimal. Again, per the science, anywhere from 4 to 6 times a day is probably going to be the best. Going more than that is going to depend on how much food you're consuming. Any less than that, it depends on your schedule. If you're somebody who just can't eat 4 times a day, I'd rather you eat 2 times a day, consistent, good quality, than force it. You don't need to be force feeding, right? You just want to be consistent. So at the end of the day, it's what's going to work for you. If you found this information helpful, Please make sure to subscribe to my channel. If you would like to work with me one-on-one as a coach so I can help you achieve your goals, especially if you're struggling with meal frequency and nutrition, feel free to hit the link in the channel description. In addition, if I sent this to you via Instagram or some other method, feel free to shoot me a DM back and let me know that you enjoyed the content and that you'd like more information on my coaching.